Hello everybody and welcome to An Uninformed Opinion, where I go back in time and review some of the games I've streamed on my Twitch channel at AlexCloud2275. Now, I could do all the games I've played, but there's a little pesky thing called footage. And as this is my first video, do expect poor paint animations. And as of writing this, no particular avatar in mind. Now, to introduce you to the format, there's going to be no scores in this review, just my pure opinion, broken up into 6 topics and an overall recommendation at the end. Today, we're diving into the demon-infested world of DMC. The 2013 reboot developed by Ninja Theory and published by Capcom. Let's break it down, because I'm going to ring this game for all of its worth. Oh, and it's the definitive edition, by the way, just in case you think I'm only going on about the original. And a spoiler warning is now in effect. First topic of discussion today will be the gameplay, because these are video games after all. This Devil May Cry Bastard Child? Forgotten second cousin. Anyway, DMC delivers an adrenaline-fueled combat experience that is as satisfying as it is stylish. The fluidity of Dante's movements combined with the diverse arsenal of weapons and abilities keep the action fresh and engaging throughout. Well, that's until you find the spinning attack cheese, which I'm gonna say is beautiful. I love it so much, just look at it. Look at it! So, whether you're slashing through hordes of demons or just executing intricate combos, the gameplay mechanics are a true highlight and frankly the reason that this game redeems itself in my opinion. There is a certain beauty in this game's variety and the seamless transitions between weapons that Ninja Theory understood was a highlight of previous titles, and they don't fail to apply it here. Especially with the enemy encounters giving a gradual introduction on how best to switch up your playstyle and not get stuck in the same grooves. I'm looking at you, Angel Tornado of Death. This is not to say that they aren't without their faults. The original didn't have a simple R1 lock-on that made it dodgy as hell, but this is actually a pro for the definitive edition in this review, because they did away with that design choice and the game runs smoother for it. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for me. For my playstyle specifically, I did focus more on angel weapons than the demons ones, purely because of Eric's. Now, I understand the point of having charge, powers, and fist gloves, and they kinda work for the design, but personally I just dislike them. They're my least favorite whenever I had to use them, and it just kinda broke the pacing of the game for me. Essentially going from this to this, it's hard to get over. Maybe they could have added a combination move or two, but at the end of the day, they can't all be winners. The platforming in the game is fun and engaging, and the ability to snatch around levels is compelling, especially when you get the Angel Dash. And just when you think you've sussed the core parts of your gameplay review, a slap hits you in the face and you remember this mechanic in battle. Now the dodge mechanic starts off basic, and then boom, you get the angel dodge, the demon dodge. Each has their own benefits. One can get you out of trouble quickly and is also just fun to spam. And then the demon dodge itself is pretty cool. If you time it right, you get a power up, you do more damage. But yeah, I'm a fan of the angel dash. Additionally, the reinterpretation of the grass mechanic introduced in Devil May Cry 4 is, well, chef's kiss. The choice of a get over here or noping out of some situations adds to the versatility that this game presents me with. A small caveat, everything I've mentioned here also still applies with the downloadable content and Virgil. Yes, he just has the Yamato and no other weapons, but the application of the angel and demon stances for quick and heavy attacks still keeps the variety open. Sure, it's not as varied, but frankly, it all flows together seamlessly with the dodging and the teleporting swords, where with Dante you are spoiled for choice, and you're allowed preference. The limitation but execution of Virgil's playstyle is 100% fun 100% of the time.
It's like pure gasoline.
They've done studies, 60% of the time, it works every time.
It all leads to a simple conclusion. Yes, the gameplay for DMC is fun. Never one battle is the same, and I strongly recommend it. Category 2. Story and the characters. So, as we're moving on to the story of DMC's Devil May Cry, Just remember, it offers a reimagined narrative that introduces us to a younger, more rebellious Dante who went through the trauma of the system. While the plot may not reinvent the wheel, it serves as a solid foundation for the fast-paced action of the game. The divergence of the way that we traditionally view Devil May Cry and DMC works in its favour as a reimagining, changing Dante from a clone of Leon from Resident Evil 4.
What a big surprise. I hope for your sake you got something inside that big body of yours. No thanks, bro.
Which give props to Happy Accidents. To a slightly more complex character journey of a bad boy with attachment and cooperation issues turning to a dedicated revolutionary with a heart. It's genuinely interesting character growth to go through. The amendments made both to Virgil and Dante's origin, from the daddy demon fell in love with a human to a Romeo and Juliet of heaven and hell proportions, is a nice change of lore. It puts Dante's mother in a more of an ethereal position and implies that the human world is just a battleground for beings beyond it. It also implies that the human world wasn't the prize for the war or the prize for the demons as they are in previous Devil May Cries. This reflects on the main villain in the game as a whole. Because Mundus is back, baby, and now he's not a three-eyed demon statue looking to conquer the human realm. And that's only because he's done it already, by the power of being the man.
No, this is not a veiled threat. This is a direct one. Should you fail to comply, the collapse of the economy will be on your head. I will make sure that you are stripped of power, shamed, and hated. Is that clear enough for you?
Because that's one thing this game is filled with: undergraduate political angst of its era. You know, those meh years of the 2010s, where everyone was reeling from the financial crisis and children were blossoming into an adulthood they didn't choose. And it shows, because it's not punk rock despite how much that guitar riff wants you to believe. This game is the epitome of woke. Now I'm talking real woke here. This is the woke before woke became the linguistic nightmare for anything the right-wing media don't like. It's They Live, put into one of your nearest and dearest franchises.
Hey, buddy. You gonna pay for that or what? Look, buddy, I don't want no hassle today.
In summary, a boy traumatized by the failure of the system sees it for what it truly is, has isolated himself, living a life of debauchery and hedonism until the wolves literally come to his front door. However, he's given just enough warning by another who's experienced a failing in the system, and she's a woman. Now, after finding his long-lost brother, and with his brother's people, they can all see the world for the disgusting body horror clusterfuck it is.
Now there is a face only a mother could love.
And now it's personal, because the big bad man killed Mommy Dearest and Daddy Dearest. Or captured Daddy Dearest? It's not clear. Which inspires our hero for the ever-essential motivation of kill that bitch! And if on the way we can cause a revolution and liberate humanity, then hooray! And then all humans die. Oh no! But one human survived! Hooray! We like to poke fun. And that's not to say that it's a bad story. Each step of the way you're invested enough to move throughout the levels. Sure, it's not Shakespeare, and you're not looking too deep into the next morsel of story like it's crack, but it's enough to take you on the ride. It's enough to certainly carry you through the poor pacing and parts of the story, and you'll be able to make it out on the other end, especially when all is finished in the main story and you're at the last epilogue. The man is destroyed, Limbo and the human world have merged, and everyone can see the demons. Panic sets in and there's destruction in the streets, and your brother turns to you and goes, hey, the truth of our existence is revealed, there is a power vacuum now, so let's go fill that. Which I personally think is the smartest schism in the storytelling. Our protagonist, who had unlimited freedom purely by his apathy and will to reject the corrupt system, now tasks himself with fighting his own blood for the freedom of those he chose to liberate. While the arbiter of freedom, whose ambition left him oppressed by the corrupt system, now has to defend his newly gained status from his own brother, who's chosen to champion the lives of the pawns he's used to acquire it. Frankly, it's a much better theme in terms of storytelling than anything the original series gave us before. Yes, Sumi, the I'm half demon, I want more power, but I'm half human and you shouldn't do that isn't the best storytelling draw of the original franchise. Dante's story here is believable. The way Kate earns his respect and loyalty. Kate's undying resolve for Virgil and the cause, and the final betrayal by Virgil is believable, and it is set up throughout. To Virgil, the cause was always the most important thing, beyond Kat or his team, purely because it was his cause and his own freedom. Okay, it's not a groundbreaking emotional story, and the dialogue is, well...
Don't do this.
Virgil, please.
Stay out of this!
It's good enough though, and the more I write about it, the more I think, damn, this was a fun game. However, let's follow this up with the DLC story, Virgil's Downfall. Let's really try and break this down. The story it tries to tell is interesting enough. Virgil has peaked and then hit his lowest point in a flash turn. It's a story of pride and fall, and now he travels through a hellish interpretation of his own home, confronting the fact that his worshipper in Kat was stolen from him by his own brother. It's a compilation of his losses in battle, pride, and heart, and his journey to heal those things. Confronting and overcoming his weaknesses, embittering him along the way, to the point where he abandons either an image of his own mother, or his own actual mother in hell. It's not clear. One thing that is clear, though, is that he rises to lead the legions of hell back into the mortal plane. Unfortunately, with Capcom's pivot back to the original Devil May Cry timeline, this is all we get from this story. And personally, I would love a sequel to be focused on the angel side of this world and its lore. I mean, I wouldn't replace it for Devil May Cry 5 because that game was pretty peak, but purely from a story and character perspective, DMC has enough strengths going for it. Now, let's talk about the level design and aesthetic themes. DMC Devil May Cry boasts stunning visuals and creative environments that bring its demon-infested world to life. Each location is meticulously crafted to enhance the player's immersion. The attention to detail is commendable, offering a feast for the eyes. From a story perspective, Dante is pulled into limbo, a realm of influence that exists within the layers of the mortal and human world. Here in the Alice in Wonderland adjacent plane, demons and angels in our Nether sequel are visible and take proper physical purchase in their environment. And as a design choice, it's immaculate for the style and story that this game was trying to produce. This game's woke is coming to stay, but in a good way. You, the player, get the chance to experience different parts of this world in the mundane setting before things are turned upside down, both figuratively and literally at one point in the game. And that's the intention. This game wants to put the themes of its level into overdrive as you experience them. Driving this home in the initial level is the air of this is a place of fun, then turning the colour scale to a bleeding red where parts of the docks are rotting and falling away. A black substance is everywhere and you don't know what it is, but it looks disgusting. It stops being a place of fun, but a monstrous house of fun.
This is supposed to be a place of fun!
And as you continue within the game, there's the Slam Factory with the succubus, which is a bit of a rip-off of Futurama.
Lordy!
Fry? Fry?
Yet the limbo transition from the floor of a corporate soft drinks office with a warehouse to a bottomless pit of consumerism is compelling. It creates an inventive platforming scenario and is all in all entertaining. The only boring level designs I found in this game are the ones without concrete themes. I'll give you these to contrast my point. Fighting your way through your own base to rescue Cap from a parallel world that works as a kind of escort mission, or going through an upside down hellscape to fight Mundus's spin doctor where the boss level actually takes place in a news broadcast. Now, I'm not saying that all the levels are winners in this game, but to my point, the levels with concrete themes are, and this is core. The only two traditional they have a lot of health and hit hard bosses are the Hunter and Virgil. Everyone else is a boss with a theme entrenched in its level design and how it is beaten. The design is the storytelling for parts of this game, and it is fun and interesting as a player to experience. We'll break it down this way. Firstly, you have Virgil taking Dante home, and the home is broken and falling apart, thematically showing Dante and Virgil as characters. Secondly, the succubus you fight later is a monstrosity who bathes in and serves its own filth. The entire level is about filth and wasteful capital used against humans. Bob Barbas is the mouthpiece and fake news spinner, well before Trump coined the phrase, though he does seem to be based off a Fox News stereotype. You have to travel through an upside down warped world where you find the actual bearer of truth imprisoned, and you must fight this Fox News presenter as a literal talking head. Lilith cells are dens of strobe lights, dark rooms, and hedonism, fighting a grotesque monstrosity of childbirth. It has sexual and sinful overtones without being pornographic, and the whole bastardization of intimacy in the club scene and hedonism is there for everyone to see. And finally, the penultimate boss fight against Mundus. You climb the stairs into a false heaven in the sky of humanity, where the boss battle is the entire city repurposed against you. The entire structure and means of Mundus's power are turned against you, the player. The game visually rubs its themes in your face. It's not telling you that the world is a pretty fairyland where you're in a safe space, like the so-called woke of today. It's rubbing its dark edginess into the pores of your skin. Frankly, I'm all for it. It strives for a postmodern grey surrealism, and I appreciate the commitment to form. The DLC level design lacks this entirely. I mean, yes, it could be visually ascribed to the confusing and displaced landscape reflecting the psyche of Virgil throughout his downfall, but as there are no end-level bosses, there are no smaller themes that can be seen in the level design. My point, however, does exclude Virgil vs. Nega Virgil, which is a level on its own, and it's fun, but the only theme I seem to get from it is get over yourself, and that's only implied in the boss battle, not in the level surrounding it. On the flip side, its choices in narrative and cutscene visuals are beautiful, as downloadable and extra content that probably wasn't free at the time, but I'm glad I was able to get it at a discounted definitive edition, are a nice narrative hook. It has a nice Dante's Inferno feel, not the game strictly, but the carried zeitgeist of the poem, which is prevalent in all Devil May Cry games. Yet, because of its lack of personality in the enemies that you're fighting, or the goals that you chase in the DLC, the levels do, in my opinion, seem like they're lacking. The DMC Devil May Cry soundtrack is pulse-pounding, perfectly complementing the on-screen action with a blend of heavy metal, rock, and electronic beats. Each track sets the tone for the intense battles and dramatic moments, immersing the players further into the demon-slaying experience. Additionally, the sound effects from the demonic adversaries to the satisfying clink of the sword strikes all add layers of depth to the gameplay. The breathless noises you hear in the background sometimes, or when you're looking for collectibles, adds to the game so much. It puts in your mind that death rattle. Not just because oh yeah, you're in hell, but as I've mentioned before, with how this game waterboards you with its themes, it's a higher sense of societal collapse paired with an existential hopelessness. Even the menu music puts you a bit on edge. It's that sense of walking into a room just after a dark family secret has been revealed. It's not pleasant, but like I said, I do appreciate the commitment to the form. DMC Devil May Cry encourages multiple playthroughs with its array of hidden secrets, challenging levels, and level scaling. Now, whether you're an S-rank player or mastering new combat techniques, there's always something to keep you coming back. It's the kind of game that rewards skill and perseverance, and ensures that each difficulty increase leaves familiar levels feeling fresh and exciting. It's essentially the point, and I will probably say it for most, if not all, the Devil May Cry games. You'll get a decent enough story the first time round, but it'll leave you wanting to complete your skill tree and push you that little bit further to see everything it has to offer. And then you'll be hooked on how they change the enemy setup, you'll want to see what they do next time on the next difficulty, probably even have a play around with the outfits, the weapon models, and creating your ideal in both. However, like with everything, too much in one sitting could be a bad thing. Given time, it's definitely a game to come back to, and you probably won't get sick of replaying the story, or at least the levels in the story. I will even say that Virgil's downfall has the same benefits, bar maybe 1 or 2 levels. Now I'm looking at you, the Mundus's rage level. Stupid car. And last section, longevity. While Devil May Cry DMC may not have the sprawling open world of some other titles, its intense action and addictive gameplay ensure that it remains in your rotation for quite some time. I, for example, might just pick this game up again. Now, whether you're revisiting your favourite missions or just diving into the Bloody Palace mode for some spectacle murdery fun, there's enough content in DMC to keep you entertained for hours on end. And that's all really that you're looking for in video games. In conclusion, DMC Devil May Cry is a thrilling reimagining that probably tried a bit too hard to be different and edgy and its own individual, dads. It certainly has a new energy, style, and approach to the characters. Yes, this Dante doesn't hold a candle to the original and is #not my Dante.
Time to go to work, guys.
And the pot shot at our boy's lovely white mop might have been a bit uncalled for. And yes, while it may not be perfect, its fast-paced gameplay, engaging story, and stunning visuals do make it a well-rounded spectacle fighter. I think the main problem I partially have with this game is this.
Going to the party? What's the hurry? Didn't you get an invitation?
And this.
You made it. You make quite the team. I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better looking. Mundus is behind the vault door. Let's not keep him waiting. And I got a bigger dick.
Are meant to be the same title. Frankly, it's the smallest of gripes because I've taken way too long to dwell on DMC's commitment to its themes. This game is the millennial black sheep to the Devil May Cry family. A bit too woke for most people's tastes, a bit too disparaging of its predecessors without first earning the respect of its audience, but frankly, once you go from Devil Hunter to Son of Sparta, you're in it. This game earns its respect, and most importantly, it's a fun game to escape into for hours at a time. Honestly, I do rate it as one of my top 3 or 4 Devil May Cry games. It plays better than the original, it's got such a better story than 2, but I'm not sure how I compare it to Devil May Cry 4. And that's my time, people. I've been EllisCloud2275, and that's my uninformed opinion, but what's yours? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the future.